No! We're doomed! Repent, sinner! The end is near! Paramount-Skydance is gonna buy Warner Bros. Discovery and kill our legacy! Help us for the love of God!
Things are looking incredibly grim right now. Yes, as Daffy Duck said, Warner Bros. Discovery has now found Paramount-Skydance's hostile takeover bid superior to what Netflix is offering, despite being backed by the Trump administration and by Arabian financial sources.
Oh no, we're doomed!
I feel you, Scooby-Doo. You never really had to deal with such hardships the Looney Tunes had before. And it's clear the Ellisons want to cause numerous layoffs and likely shut down Warner Brothers Animation. You never had to deal with this before, Scoob.
But I have!
Indeed. This would be not unlike Disney shutting down Blue Sky Studios as part of the 20th Century Fox acquisition roughly 7 years ago. They felt having such a studio was redundant since they already had their own theatrical animation studio and Pixar, combined with the COVID-19 pandemic going on then. Paramount-Skydance would feel having Warner Brothers Animation and its feature motion picture division and the Cartoon Network studios redundant, since they had the theatrical Paramount Animation Studio alongside Nickelodeon Animation Studios. It'd be disastrous for the animation industry. Warner Brothers Animation previously shut down in 1953 for fear of having to convert to expensive 3D cartoon production, plus a whole backlog of cartoons that still needed to be released, only to reopen again at the start of 1954. Then they closed down in 1963 because of cutbacks and the rising popularity of television over theatrical cartoons. But after 2.5 years of having Looney Tunes shorts subcontracted to Patty Thrilling Enterprises and Format Films, Warner Brothers Animation reopened in 1967. This is when it starts to become like current events. In 1969, Warner Brothers Animation shut down again when Kiddie National bought out Warner Brothers and snuffed out 7 Arts in the process, taking down the cartoon studio with it. But then 11 years later, after Warner Communications was formed, the animation studio reopened in 1980. Still active to this day, but possibly not for long. Indeed, Scooby. Since with Hanna-Barbera, you guys moved onto the Warner Brothers Animation lot by 1998, followed by HB being folded into Warner Brothers Animation, a move finalized with the death of co-founder Bill Hanna in 2001.
Oh, yeah.
Another reason to be opposed to this buyout, because then Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network will become sister channels.
And then the shows on both channels, they'll all star horrible freaks with pink skin, no bites, and 5 fingers on each hand!
Sorry, Daffy, but that's been done. Realistically, they may want to just shut down the Cartoon Network since it'd be made redundant by Nickelodeon.
That's not good.
Yeah, indeed, because Cartoon Network hasn't been performing as well recently. And speaking of legal stuff, there'll still be numerous legal hurdles this planned takeover would have to deal with. So there is still a chance it could go nowhere and the deal could not close. Of course, it doesn't help much that the Ellisons are good friends with President Trump. And he'd be more than willing to help get this deal happening so they could buy out CNN, their main goal for the whole deal. And as such, they've just brushed off all the other Warner-owned properties, including the animated ones. They'd rather favor South Park and SpongeBob and Paw Patrol over anything old or something just acquired from a merger or a buyout.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and Paramount-Skydance is also currently not in a very good financial situation right now because of pumping all their energy and resources and income into wanting to buy Warner Brothers. They've lost $573 million in its fourth quarter earnings. In contrast, Warner Brothers Discovery went up by $727 million, and Paramount-Skydance wants to pay $110 billion for it. Heck, the Paramount-Skydance merger is partly why the cinema this channel creator typically goes to just closed down, since they folded National Amusements, the owners said cinema. And now it looks like that will happen with Warner Brothers. But this buyout is just going to be a recipe for disaster, with them both ending up with virtually no money, and there will already be massive layoffs underway, in addition to neglecting all the other Warner-owned properties besides CNN. I know, Scooby. I'm really scared, too.
So am I. And my Coyote vs. Acme movie is being released by an indie distributor.
It's sad, too. Kind of like losing a loved one. And Netflix has opted to not raise their bid offer, seeming to back out of the deal, which is really too bad, given Netflix is definitely the lesser of two evils, along with Comcast. So all we can do now is pray the Department of Justice puts a halt to this merger deal or something else similar happens. I still remember when Disney and 20th Century Fox's deal took 15 months to pretty much be finalized, so that's a lot of time. And there are indeed hints that this disastrous deal can be stopped.
Oh, really?
You got that? Indeed, I heard California's top prosecuting attorney general, Rob Bonta, is stepping in to scrutinize this proposed merger, saying the two Hollywood titans have not cleared regular scrutiny. The California Department of Justice has an open investigation, and we intend to be vigorous in our review. Heck, the aforementioned owning both Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network would be a monopoly, and those are pretty much illegal now. And it especially doesn't help with the Elsons being right-wingers and very into AI. Exactly. There are quite a few reasons, as I've already covered, why this transaction should not be allowed to happen. And I also remember the Writers Guild of America would also try and put a stop to it, which they're already trying to. Of course, they said they'd also try to stop Netflix from buying Warner Brothers, and ultimately Netflix bowed out, as I said. There are so many signs that the Elsons and Paramount-Skydance are a very evil and cruel company. But ultimately, Warner Bros. Discovery, their stockholder people, and David Zaslav ultimately gave in and saw it as a superior offer. Curse that Zaslav mug!
Yeah, curse him!
Just great! After Zaslav supposedly starts to show some good in him with improving Warner Bros. Theatrical movie success rate and wanting to split Warner Bros. And Discovery and then initially turning down the Elson's bids, he has a heel-face door slam, as TV Tropes puts it. Ugh! Guess you better prepare for the funeral.
Not yet, Daffy.
Yeah, not yet.
I was still saying there are several legal hurdles that could possibly prevent such a transaction from happening. I mean, the Disney and 20th Century Fox transition did end up having one such legal hurdle to prevent creating some kind of monopoly, with Disney being unable to get Fox Sports since they already had ESPN, so they were able to comply with that. But Paramount-Skydance buying out Warner Brothers would be even worse, as I said, since they both own so many networks that are similar. Additionally, a bit of audio from a corporate Zoom meeting got leaked out, with David Zaslav stating that this deal could take 6 to 12 months to close, or it may not even close at all. And if that were the case, Warner Bros. Discovery gets a $7 billion breakup fee. So we can all hope and pray that this deal goes nowhere. Otherwise, you and the Looney Tunes and MGM and rest of the Hanna-Barbera characters are digging your own graves. Exactly. Of course, I've also found out recently that many Warner Brothers employees are scared, the shareholders are scared, Even David Zaslav himself sounds like he's having second thoughts about it, as hinted by that Zoom meeting audio leak. Good to see he might be having a change of heart about this merger. But until a solution comes from this whole mess, keep watching this YouTube channel to see whatever me and my other toon friends here do next.